Hey, welcome back. We're going to talk about the drill press today. There's a couple of reasons why you might want to use the drill press for used to drill holes in your metal. One of the reasons might be to create a hole in the metal to thread your saw blade in for a piercing. So I've got a couple of different places where I would need to do that in this particular piece. The other reason you might want to drill a hole in your metal is to make your sawing easier if you have really complicated shapes that you're sawing. And then a third reason might be just purely decorative. You just need that hole as part of the part of your composition. So we have the drill press right here. We have a wood block that's really important to support your metal that you're drilling. There is a handle that pulls down when the drill is in the chuck. You have a chuck that opens and closes, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a drill bit right now. I just hand tighten that. Really important to make sure this is going straight up and down, perpendicular to the floor. I just barely hand tighten that. Here's your on-off switch. So if I turn that on, I'm just going to visually check and make sure that the drill isn't orbiting. If the drill is orbiting, that means that I did not get it perpendicular to the ground, and I'm going to have to open this back up and start over. If it is not orbiting, I'm ready to use the chuck key to tighten that drill bit to make sure it doesn't come out when I'm working, because you're going to be putting a little bit of pressure on that to make that drill hole. So the chuck key and an assortment of drills you can find in this little plastic container right next to the drills. Wanted to show you that. I have 3 different size drills right here, and they're similar to the gauges. The smaller, the larger the number, the thinner the drill bit. And this drill bit right here is really, 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 really easy to break. So if you were going to use that thin of a drill in this drill press, you have to be very conscious of the pressure going through. You want to let the drill bit do the work. You don't want to force it down. So we're going to go ahead and get our metal ready to drill. And if I were to just straight drill this right now, when I pull this drill bit down, if it's on, it's not going to find out where I want it to drill. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to move over here to the steel block, and I'm going to make an indentation inside my piercing, not on the line. I want to go somewhere little bit to the inside of where I want to do my piercing. If I put it right on that line, then I'm going to see a little bit of that hole once I saw that out. So I have 2 options. The first option is to take this awl, get it set up. I am right-handed, so I'm using my left hand to hold this, right hand to grab the hammer. I'm using my fingers as a bridge next to it. So even if my hand is shaking, it's not moving anywhere, because you do not want that shaking when you're doing a hammer strike on top there. So I'm really securing my metal right here. My wrist and my elbow are also grounded on the table. So I come in, 1 solid strike, done. So little teeny indentation right there. So when I line up the drill bit with that, the drill bit knows where I want it to drill. The other way I can do that, if you don't want to use the hammer and the awl, is I can use a center hole punch. And the center hole punch, if I line it up, I'll do an indentation on this side over here. If I line that up inside my piercing and I basically just put pressure on the top down, you'll hear a click, and that will just punch a little tinny indentation. Most common mistake people make with these things is they think that they can either push hard enough or hammer hard enough to go through your metal. This is just the beginning. You're just telling the drill bit where to go when you line it up. So we're done with the steel block. Steel block belongs right underneath here, and I put it on a mouse pad to dull the sound. So we're going to work on drilling right now. So I've got my base wood right here. I've securely tested this. I know it's not orbiting, so I know it's not crooked. It's coming parallel down to the ground. And I line up my metal first, so safety first. My hair is tied back, my glasses are on. I familiarize myself, remind myself on, off, lower, raise, have my block ready to go. So my lefties, apologize for this one, you're going to have to use your right hand It's not safe to cross over and hold that. So you may feel more comfortable just kind of practicing this a couple times. Feel free to do that if you need to. So as a reminder, I have a little indentation right here to the right of where my finger is. That's where I'm going to line up the center of my drill bit. And I do that by just lowering it. My left hand is moving my material around. I'm moving my metal around until I barely feel tension, and that goes straight down. I'm double checking from a couple different angles to make sure that's centered into that little indentation I made. I'm not holding on with my left hand. Gentle pressure right here. I am not pushing this through the metal. I'm just holding it down. And then I use my left hand as like a C-clamp. I want to make sure that I do not get my finger underneath that drill bit. So I'm going to go right to the side. My thumb can come down here to brace, and I can release that. If this moves at all, you have to go back and line it up again. So pressure is down with my left hand, my thumb is braced, and I also have my forearm braced on the bench right here. So once I'm ready to go, I turn it on to low. I bring this down slowly. Make sure that I'm where I want to be so it's lined up. I'll feel a little bit of pressure. I gently push this through. I'll feel a little bit of a pop. I gently release. You control it until you turn it off. Then you can release that right there. If for some reason you're drilling in brass and it's not pulling through, there's a good chance that maybe the drill bit is worn out and it's not sharp, or someone may have broken that and just left it in. Hopefully not. If you think it's broken, just let me know and I can come get you another one. So I have this hole right here that I just drilled. So that makes it really easy now to go back with my saw frame and my saw and thread that blade through there, and then I can saw that inside shape out. So the back of this, once you drill through, has a little bit of metal right there that can cut you, so just be aware of that. That can get filed off in a little bit later. If you, I encourage you to do all of your internal piercings first. If you forget and you end up with this small piece of metal and you think, I forgot to drill a hole in there, this is a little bit dicey, because what is really key with this is that you have a really good hold on your metal. If you come down and drill your metal and something happens, you get spooked, or you're like, what is? And you let go, you lose your focus and you let go of this guide bracing hand, it's going to be attached and start spinning, and that can end up cutting your hand. So be really careful about bracing. So if you've got this small piece of metal right here, and I'm coming in here, that's a tough go. So I may want to go ahead and use the hand drill right here. And the hand drill itself, when you hold both of those handles together, you can open and close the chuck on this one by hand. You do not need to use a chuck key for that. You just get your drill bit in, close it, and then you're ready to go ahead and use this by hand. You can also put one of these in the Fordham to drill. The last safety thing I want to talk about is heat. So if I have a small piece of metal and I have enough there to hold, friction causes heat. And if it's a tougher drill, if it's taken me a little while, this is going to start to heat up. So you might want to wrap your finger with some pre-wrap to do that. I do have some gloves over here to the right if you want to put on a pair of those to hold that down. But grip is key, hair tied back, safety glasses on, and control. All the way down, all the way up, then you can release your grip. So until next time, bye-bye.